Why do you say Europeans never created a civilization?
Show me one. That's the only question I've had. Show me a European civilization. Rome was not a civilization. Greece was not a civilization. You don't know a day in the history of Greece where there wasn't a war. You don't know a day in the history of Rome and there wasn't a war. Those are not civilization. Those are death cults, war culture. They're not building anything. They're stealing from other people, borrowing from other people, and still carrying on this anti-human, anti-nature behavior of murdering, stealing to conquer and appropriate something that belonged to someone else that you could have gotten by just shaking their hands and making a deal.
Why are white people so intimidated and threatened by black men, despite their claims that black men are inferior to them and incapable of the most basic tasks?
Well, there's an easy answer to that question. They know black men are superior to them. Put us on any playing field, be it physics or football, and we will win. Give us the same opportunities, and we will win. Because we come from a history of not trying to destroy and dominate the world, and you come from a history of trying to destroy and dominate the world. And that has become the culture of the white community.
Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, as usual, before I begin with this lesson, I want to start it off by facing the east and giving all the glory and infinite praise to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Makaha Kadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who I'm taught and learn this truth 100% from. Peace and blessings be to all you walking, that is serving Yahweh by Shema Son sincerely. hoping for mercy and salvation in these last days, man. Shalom and Yahweh Shema Shabrakatun. So before I kick this lesson off, I want to pull this precept real quick. This Revelation 6 and 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. And hell followed with them. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. All right, and as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to entitle this lesson, his name that sat on him was Death. All right, his name that sat on him was Death because, you know, as y'all just seen in those clips that I played before I kicked this lesson off, all right, it just goes to show you who that pale horse was referring to, as we just read in Revelation the 6th chapter, because ever since the so-called white man came into power, and you'll have Christians and people who think they know the Bible but really don't, you know, try to break down Revelation 6 on who they think what they think what they call the four horsemen of the apocalypse is, and this shit just be off. It all be wrong, man. But ever since the so-called white man has been risen up and been given a power seat, the earth has been in shambles, man. Everything has been flipped upside down. You got parts of the earth being destroyed and polluted, everything being polluted. You know, you got deforestation, you got animals going what they call extinct. You know what I'm saying? Genocides committed on people being used as guinea pigs, basically for testing for you know what. So we know that the only one that matches this prophecy right here is the so-called white man. It ain't some type of mythical, you know what I'm saying, being that's gonna come from somewhere out of the ground or out of the sky, and they gonna strike the sky, and then it's gonna start, plagues just gonna start kicking off. That's not how it's gonna happen, man. All right, the Most High uses this man as his sword. This is why, if you look at the agenda of the elites, a lot of their agendas be pertaining to prophecy, because the Most High is using this man, right, to bring forth prophecy. He's using this man to be that whooping stick on the earth, right? And it ain't hard to see who this man is. Just look at everything that he's done ever since he's came into power. And we can even go back, starting, you know what I'm saying, way back during Alexander the Great, Greek, whatever the fuck you want to call him, right? He couldn't have been too good, because we know that when you read in 1 Maccabees, the 1st chapter, the scriptures talk about how whenever the Greeks was ruling, that evil was multiplied in the earth, man. All right, why is that? Because this man is the wicked. All right, and as a matter of fact, let's grab that real quick. Let's go to Job 9:24. It's been a little minute since I grabbed that. And ain't no running around this. They the only nation going around bombing people for no damn reason. They the only nation that's going around and setting shit on fire and polluting food, and they the only nation, man. You know what I'm saying? Like when you watch that old Planet of the Apes movie, you know what I'm saying? The apes, they was, which is that symbolized Jake through the spirit. But the apes, they was basically they had this Edomite and change and shit, and they basically was talking about how they had to do away with him because he only knows how to destroy. And they called him the harbinger of death. Right, the harbinger of death, because that's all this man knows. All this man knows is how to, as the scripture say, the thief only coming but to kill, steal, and to destroy. Right? That's all the so-called white man knows how to do. Right? This is why he been over there in Africa, giving them hell over their resources and shit, over their blood diamonds and gold and all that. All right? They been over there in Ishmael and Elam land, taking their oil and shit for the past couple of decades, man, unrighteously. threaten them, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you don't, you know, you don't accept this deal or whatever the case may be, then there's gonna be consequences behind it. You know what them consequences gonna be. It's gonna be more bombings and shit. That's why Ishmael getting tired of that shit. And this is why ultimately every nation is gonna raise up on the planet Earth against the great horde, man. Right? Because Esau is responsible for 90% of the world's problem, if not all of them, because at the end of the day, he's the one ruling, right? He's the one that's calling the shots, all right? But we know that the scriptures say that the spirit in him is not upright. Even if this man could, he wouldn't choose to rule the earth in righteousness. He wants this shit to be chaotic and flipped upside down because he's created to be the wicked, man. All right, but this is Job 9:20. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? All right, and anybody with just, nigga, a half a brain could tell you that, or tell you what nation of people is ruling the earth right now. All right, and what nation of people, whoever is ruling the earth, that means that they're responsible for the world's problems. All right, ever since the so-called white man came into power, you've been having them Hamites over there. Now you got shit like Bola E. I'm gonna just call it that. Brothers know what I'm talking about. Bola E. You got AIDS. You got all these damn diseases and shit, but where is this shit coming from? Because this shit doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. Right, and it's even been proven. You had a numerous amount of whistleblowers come out and talk about how all of these plagues coming out, pestilences, I'm gonna call them pestilences. All these pestilences coming out, all that shit is made in them, you know what I'm saying, in them labs and shit. You know what I'm saying, where Esau over there experimenting with shit, putting shit together, splicing shit, and then going and testing it out on them Hamites to see how that shit gonna work. And then labeling them as the cause of, you know what I'm saying, the outbreak and shit, man. All right, it take a true devil to do some shit like that. All right, he was experimenting on Jake ass not too long ago with that, you know what. All right, so it ain't hard to see who that pale horse is. You know what I'm saying? This man and came over here, and it be little shit that just you got to think of, not little, you know what I'm saying, in the sense of the situation, but you know what I'm saying, look at everything that this man has done. Look at how he came over here and to starve Gad out. This man killed off most of the damn buffalo. It take a damn harbinger of death to even want to do some shit like that. You want to destroy a natural biome, a natural habitat, and push all the animals out towards the cities and shit. Now you got animals getting ran over and shit. You know what I'm saying? Polluting the air. This man over here causing mudslides, earthquakes, you know what I'm saying, tornadoes and shit. He is the harbinger of death, man. All right? And ever since he's been in the power, he ain't been bearing a sword in vain. As a matter of fact, let's grab that. Romans 13:4 says, for he is the minister of Yahweh to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he bear not the sword in vain, for he is the minister of Yahweh, and revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. All right, this man don't bear the sword in vain. You know what I'm saying? You think that he was given, you know what I'm saying, the power to push a button and eliminate a whole country within a second? You think he was given that for no reason, man? Nah, this is why ever since he's been risen up, he ain't been doing shit but killing. Christopher Columbus said he couldn't even put his sword down for an hour. Right? Esau, when they go over there to Palestine or wherever they go over there, to them Muslim countries, right? They be over there causing a mass casualties, man. You got a lot of former Marines that'll come out and talk about how it was so much death being caused over there by Americans and shit. This is why the nations is gonna rise up against Babylon when the time is right, man. They ain't forget about what Babylon has done. Right? No matter what you see on TV, no matter what they trying to portray, hey, the Most High is gonna raise up all these nations pursuant to Revelation, the 17th chapter, to burn the great whore, man. All right, so, with that being said, just something quick, what I'm saying, on my spirit. All right, this man is the pale horse. He is the harbinger of death. All right, anything that this man touches, right, or wherever this man is found, best believe it's going to be corruption, and it got to be death followed with that, man. All right, so, with that being said, Lord willing, this was edifying. Shalom. Yahabah Shema Shabrak Thumb and the Baba Shalom.